the last seminar of the first series devoted to opportunities of cooperation between Italy and UAE on innovation. I am particularly thankful to Her Excellency Minister Al-Muhairi, Minister for Food Security of the UAE, to be with us this afternoon. Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Stefano should have been with us. Unfortunately, he had to travel abroad for a mission abroad, but I know that he's having a call with Her Excellency in the coming days. The purpose of this initiative is to highlight the opportunities for cooperation with the innovation. We are firmly convinced that innovation is the key to to foster bilateral relations, but also to jointly face and cope with the challenges, the global challenges, mainly after the pandemic, in the post-pandemic world. That's why we are connecting these events, this initiative, to Expo 2020, to our participation, Italian participation in Expo 2020, Italian and UAE participation in Expo 2020 Dubai. And we have here also the Italian General Commissioner for the participation in Expo 2020 Dubai, Paolo Grisenti. And we are also connecting, ideally, this initiative and this webinar in particular to the to the week of the Italian cuisine in the world. We are not talking about cuisine, of course, but we're talking about food. We're talking about production of food, food technology, and technology is something strictly connected to the food, the quality of food, sustainability of food in Italy as everywhere. I won't say more to introduce this webinar because we have with us Her Excellency, and so I will leave the floor to you, Excellency, for your opening remarks. Thanking you once again for your time, for your availability. We met last time at Gulf Food, so it was some weeks before this tsunami, I say. And but now the fact that we are meeting again is of some hope for us, that we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But please, Excellency, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Good morning, good afternoon. So it is both an honor and a pleasure to be able to address you today. I hope you're all well and safe, and I thank you for joining us today. I would like to start by welcoming His Excellency Giuseppe Finocchiaro. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The newly appointed Consul General of Italy in the United Arab Emirates. Congratulations, Your Excellency, on your appointment, and I look forward to working with you in areas of common interest and further cementing the already great strong bonds between our two countries. I would also like to thank the Italian consulate team for inviting me to address you on this occasion at the closing days of 2020. And really what a year it has been. When we commenced the year, as His Excellency mentioned, no one could have imagined that we would find ourselves in the situation we are today, wearing masks, social distancing, and communicating through screens as all part of the new normal. As with all crises, many suffered pain and sorrow, but one must not forget that this is also a time for a jump in development and opportunities. In the sphere of food security, many people may have not understood the importance of this subject before, but over the last months have come to realize why countries must take food security seriously. We are blessed in the UAE as we have leaders who really have DNA in their blood when it comes to foresight. In October 2017, I was appointed the first UAE Minister of State responsible for the food security file. And just a few months ago, I also received the water security file in the latest government reshuffle. Therefore, since 2017, my team and I, together with all the stakeholders, have really been working to ensure that we build more resilient food systems in the UAE. So in November 2018, we launched the UAE National Food Security Strategy to ensure that every citizen and resident in the UAE has access to safe, sufficient, and nutritious food for an active and healthy lifestyle at affordable prices at all times, which includes emergencies and crises. So the strategy encompasses 5 strategic directions, 5 enablers, 38 programs, and 10 KPIs. So this strategy aims to reduce the UAE's heavy dependency on global food chains, networks that bring in 90% of all foods consumed in the country. We recognize that such a reliance on these chains make us vulnerable to disruptions that occurred beyond our border. Therefore, with our plan, we aim to mitigate the risks and at the same time also enhance our food security, knowing that global challenges are already putting a lot of strain on global food supplies. In December 2019, we established the Emirates Food Security Council as a central part of the UAE strategy's governance model for the food security sphere. This council comprises of representatives from all the relevant federal ministries and also the local government entities who play a role in the food security domain. Thankfully, with the nation plan in place, a governance model, and of course, great partnerships, our national food security strategy proved to be a strong foundation for our nation also during the crisis, enabling us to maneuver through the challenging months when we all faced lockdowns, trade restrictions from many countries, and also many logistical barriers. So despite our large dependence on net food imports, we were able to ensure that no retailer shelves were empty of any food items and that food prices remained steady. This really shows the strength of our private sector and our logistical network and partnerships from around the world. As with many crises, these are times when plans and programs are put to the test and times when we must also reflect and reprioritize. While the UAE enjoys being a hub of global food trade, we also now have the ambition to become a hub of technology and innovation in growing food domestically using technology. Our commitment to developing an agriculture technology sector, also known as AgTech, goes beyond achieving a certain level of sufficiency. It aims for us to propel the UAE to the forefront of this exciting sector. We are really working on changing the blueprint of the country when it comes to AgTech and making major investments in this sector. The Abu Dhabi Investment Office, for example, has invested $100 million in 4 global AgTech companies just in April this year, and just a few weeks ago, invested another $41 million in AgTech capacities. This is all under the Abu Dhabi's Ghadan 21 initiative. As a result, commercial organizations are really enjoying the increased access to the UAE's food value chain. Today, for many of you that are living here in the UAE, you're enjoying homegrown salmon, homegrown quinoa, homegrown blueberries, and these are all grown in very high-tech closed environment agriculture facilities. But we're also seeing technology being deployed in open fields. We also have homegrown potatoes now, which we didn't have before. So ultimately, the UAE really aims to become a world-leading hub in innovation-driven food security by 2051. And in striving to meet this goal over the next decade, we also plan to play a major role in helping meet the United Nations' second Sustainable Development Goal, Zero Hunger by 2030. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to finish by saying that the global coronavirus pandemic has proved the strength of having a multifaceted national food security strategy, but it has also reiterated the need for further global cooperation in the food security sphere. With this in mind, the UAE stands ready to share its knowledge and experience in this area, as well as to learn from others about their measures to overcome the challenges they have faced. I look forward to working with my colleagues from Italy and helping secure a food secure future for everyone. Thank you all for your kind attention, and let's hope that 2021 is a better year for all of us. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your very thoughtful, remarks and very useful, I think, for all of us to understand which is the UAE strategy, quite bold and visionary strategy in this field as in other fields we can say. Thank you very much, really. And we can now open the first session of this webinar, focused on AgTech challenges and solutions. I will leave the floor to Director General Stefano Vaccari, Director General of the Italian Council for Agricultural Research and Analysis of the Agriculture Economy, the main research center in this sector. Excellency, the Minister, we are very happy if you can stay with us as long as you can, but we understand that you are very busy. So, I mean, when you see you, disappear, please do not, worry. We perfectly understand, but as long as you can stay with us, we really appreciate it. So
thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Thanks again, and I give the floor to Dr. Vaccari. Please.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Thank you so much, Ministers and Excellencies. It will be a very hard job to describe the CREA, the Council of Agricultural Research and Economics, the most important Italian agri-food research body with general scientific competencies in agriculture, agroindustry, fisheries, forestry, and economics. I would like to share a little presentation to describe better the opportunities. Okay. Can you see the presentation? Okay. Very short description of our 12 research centers, because CREA is a very complex reality of Italian research. 6 centers for value chains, and I underline for the interest of United Arab Emirates, the centers of cereals and in the industrial crops, animal productions and aquaculture, olive fruits and citrus trees, and vegetables and ornamental crops. And the 6 centers for cross-cutting research topics. And I would like to underline our centers that have a big program of research in food nutrition, plant protection and certification, agriculture and environment, and genomic and bioinformatics, and engineering and agro-food processing. I don't want to describe the Italian situation, but I want to focus your attention in 3 or 4 topics. Sustainable management of natural resources. In that topics, CREA is carrying out many researches. We have more than 400 research in this moment that are implementing our knowledge in this sector. Main areas of competence: plant biology and crop sciences. I want to underline our knowledge in cereals and citrus fruits and greenhouses, management of greenhouses in agriculture, and for a better use of all components inside a greenhouse. Livestock and animal products. Our competencies are in fields of rich situation and arid situations. Production of cheeses. Production of cheeses, Italy has a very big experience in this sector. And we have some projects that are specific for desertic situations. Agroindustrial production and processing. I want to underline that Italian industry is one of the most important in the world in production of machineries for food processing. Not only we have a great tradition, you know, in wine, but not only. We have a great tradition in olive oil, in management of fruits and vegetables. CREA has more than 5,000 hectares of experimental farms, and it allows CREA to be one of the biggest reality in Europe as a surface focalized to research laboratories. We can share with the experience of United Arab Emirates our experience in laboratories and equipment. We have more than 2,000 of researchers and technicians, and many of them work every day with other researchers in every part of the world, including Arab countries. In my opinion, it's very important to give a concrete example of results. Genetic, genomics, and breeding are one of our strong fields of activities. We selected in the past a great number of varieties of cereals, rice, barley, wheat. Many of these varieties are extended to dried situation and very difficult soils. Which genome sequences in this field, Italy is an excellence in the world, like the advanced citrus breeding. We have many varieties and a great experience in the selection of different citrus varieties, more of them that can use in dried soils. I don't want to describe all our production, but I underline that we have quite 900 registered cultivars in many fields of production. And I think it is very interesting for United Arab Emirates. Animal husbandry. Our experience is in buffalo genetic improvement, and we know that many Arab countries are trying production of buffalo field, because the production of mozzarella is starting in many countries of that area. Very important, our research in reducing antibiotic use in animal farming. In many animal farming, we tested the different solutions to reduce antibiotic. Technology. You know, in Europe, the new message is from farm to fork, sustainable, good, and healthy. Okay. For Italian research is not a news, because we have a decade experience in sustainable and quality products. And our results, in my opinion, can be shared with a lot of other experiences in that area. A different use of agricultural production to give producers high nutritional value, but high monetary value. We can use different food products to use, for example, cosmetics or other products. We have a great experience in fruit, cheeses, and products from milk to use these products for other uses. some experiences are interesting, in my opinion, for Arab countries, in particular innovation in citrus juice products. Red orange extracts with the nutraceutical properties, very useful for lower blood cholesterol and sugar levels, and we know that they are common problems, Italian and Arabic problems, because food, and in this case, we have a great experience to change the way to consume food in the country. Great experience in portable machinery for tests, not only in cheeses, but for example, in fruit and in other vegetables. A good technology because it's not an expensive technology, and is a technology that can adapt at different situations, not only great industry and great farms, but small producers and situation with difficult with problems. I want to close my presentation because 8 minutes are very, very short to describe CREA situation, to focus the experience of CREA in the nutrition. Why nutrition? Because since 1946, CREA produces a food composition tables. Food composition tables are online on the website of CREA, and can give you a guideline to use better your food and to produce guidelines for different pieces of the population. Why different pieces of different sectors of population? Because in Italian experience, we saw in the past that it's very difficult to give the same guidelines for all sectors of population. And so CREA can help you to focus the best guidelines for different sectors of population. We have a great collection and databases because CREA is an experience of more than 80 years of research. And so in this long time, we produced many plant germplasm banks, animal collections. For example, we have the most important collection in the world, for example, for olive oil, one of the most important in citrus and one of the most important in cereals. And a big microbial collection. Is very interesting because the use of microbes is one of the new frontiers of the research. I want to close with a particularity. CREA has a great collection of horses and is the only owner of the original Lipizza horses. So you know Lipizza horse is one of the most famous horses in the world. It came from Austria, but after the Second World War, the original horses came in Italy. And so Italy and CREA in this case have the unique collection of the original genetic Lipizza horses in the world. It wants to give you a panoramic of the incredible variety of the Italian research and the CREA research. I want to conclude with showing you the description of international partnership. CREA has many international partnerships, and I strongly hope in the next presentation it will be to show that United Arab Emirates are in the map as a new international partnership between CREA and United Arab Emirates. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your very wide and deep at the same time presentation. Actually, the range of activities that the CREA is carrying out is amazing, and I think that we can find you can find many areas of potential cooperation with the UAE. Actually, I was seeing your slide on rice, for instance, and I connected it with something I recently read. Italy is the second, is the first country in Europe for production of rice, 1.6 billion of tons. Actually, it's an amazing result. Italy produces half as much as the rice produced in the European Union. This is actually amazing, and we are about, I think, to sign a cooperation agreement, to just sign a cooperation agreement with China. So, this research, this amount of research that we are carrying out, will help also improving the quality of our products and fostering international cooperation. Thank you so much again. That said, we leave the floor now to the UAE side of the research in this sector, to Professor Liliana Stoyanovska, who teaches at the College of Food and Agriculture of the United Arab Emirates University, based in Al Ain, a hotspot, I can say, for agriculture research and production. Please, Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much indeed, Professor. First of all, Your Excellency, Ambassador Lenor, thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this excellent webinar. I'm so grateful to each and everyone at the Embassy of Italy in Abu Dhabi, as well as the Consul General staff in Dubai. I was also privileged to be part of your seminar, not webinar, seminar in Dubai last February, just, the previous century. And had opportunity to meet with many people, especially with Barilla Noodle Company. So we forged a collaboration as a result of that meeting. So I am expecting few collaborations as a result of this. So thank you again for the opportunity. I am at the United Arab Emirates University, as you said, and basically I have been here from Australia for the past 2 years. It's a beautiful city of Al Ain. Now, so do I share screen, sir? Okay. No. Okay, I'm looking for my slides. Okay, here we go. Wonderful. Beautiful technology. So basically, I am part of the College of Medicine and Health Science, although till about a month ago, I was part of the College of Agriculture and Food. But hey, what is in the name? We still do research with our colleagues from the agriculture, and we're doing research with our colleagues from the medical profession, because this is a beautiful hybrid of science where clinical nutrition and food nutrition will sort of blend beautifully. So given that we are part of a nutrition and health, health department, our mission is to promote. By promoting, we are protecting and improving the nutritional well-being and health of individuals, their families and communities. And we do that through, first of all, educational programs. We're a university, so we've got from undergraduate to master's to PhD students. We do a lot of research, we do educational seminars, and we do, as I've indicated, outreach to the community. So all of these is meant to be an integrative part of from bed to science. So what is our research interest and what are our capabilities? First of all, given that we are in the health and nutrition, which is the, as I said, hybrid to clinical and agriculture, we are first of all interested in prevention of many chronic diseases around the world. First of all, we know that cardiovascular disease is #1 morbidity and mortality rate in the world from cancer and diabetes. All this is to really, has been known to be a significant drive of morbidity and mortality in the world. So cardiovascular disease, as we know from the World Health Organization, is #1 cause of death. And there is no need for me to just show and share the data, but basically 11 million people have passed away in 2016, which is over 30% globally as a result of cardiovascular disease. And the data is even more so now. Now, in relation to that, we've got another chronic disorder, which is diabetes, but that also does not come on its own. It usually, the prevalence of obesity and overweight can lead to type 2 diabetes. So again, data shows that in 2016, the obesity prevalence in the adults was about 30% compared to 22% in 2007. So in 10 years, in less than 10 years, we've nearly went to 10% higher. Well, not only adults, children are also obese and overweight. 5 to 17-year-olds have 14.5% prevalence of obesity. So this leads us to type 2 diabetes, which again is a global prevalence. It has increased dramatically. But what is really important is that in UAE, where we are now, it has the world highest prevalence rates of diabetes. World highest, and the data even is just staggering as of a few days ago that 30% of the people in the urban cities have either impaired glucose tolerance or type 2 diabetes. So where do we fit? Knowing that we've got chronic disorders, we know we need to educate, prevent, and help with medication. Where are we with our research? Well, our research is basically based, as I said, on nutrition, and we are doing some innovative studies. Some of these are, of course, within the dates, the date fruits and the date seeds. Well, as we know, dates are the national and very much local food resource in the United Arab Emirates. There's so many kinds of different varieties, and people start the day and finish the day with dates. So for us, this presents a potential food innovation in developing of food functional products. And that's important. We want something innovative, not just to mix the dates and try to come up with a beautiful recipe, but what is in the seeds, what is in the fruit of the dates that can be used as a nutraceutical product, functional food, that probably can be used as a therapeutic. So first of all, what we are doing, we've done a lot of analysis in the seeds. Seeds now are given to the camels for feed, and they're thrown away. But once you start decomposing them and trying to really crunch them down and analyze, we found a lot of bioactive compounds that basically are from antioxidants, polyphenols, and as well as anti-cancer productive properties. So lots of research is done on that way. And we are also doing a lot of research in the actual fruit of the dates. We wanted to characterize what are the soluble and insoluble fibers, the total fibers, and how that it actually can improve a food product and have potential on some beneficial effect of our chronic diseases. So that's one side. We are doing a lot of research, but I'm going to just highlight 2 or 3, predominantly 2 large ones. And one here I'm picking on because it's got to do something with the Italian also mission here, but it's mainly with the Food and Agriculture Organization, which is part of the United Nations, but some members from Italy are members of this organization. And what we've got a joint product, and this joint product is basically in the area of funded project. And we are looking at the diets and food systems, mainly in overweight people, obesity, as well as non-communicable diseases, all to do here in United Arab Emirates, and how these primary and secondary data collection methods can aid to this. So basically, what we're trying to do is collect data closely, which is aligned to the Food and Agriculture Organization methodology, And we're trying to see how that can have and how that can change dietary patterns, some food systems, consumer behaviors, and other determinants of malnutrition and population within the United Arab Emirates across the whole span of demographics and also different regions. So with that, I would like to thank you for the opportunity. I think I'm close to 8 minutes, but basically, this is just a snapshot of what we're doing. We are basically doing also innovative research as part of MAS now, the actual project known as the Life for Space or Life in Space. And as you know, UAE was involved in launching. So we are doing some innovative work looking at how dietary patterns and what we can do there in order to decrease insulin resistance, improve it, and prevent diabetes. So lots of fronts, and if you're really willing to learn more and try to collaborate, you've got my email address. I'm sure it can be obtained from Ms. Stefania, and I'm more willing to answer some questions later on. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you so much, Professor. I mean, outstanding presentation, actually highlighting the main axis of your research, which relates, of course, health and food innovation. Concerning FAO, actually, Italy has promoted the creation of a coalition in June this year, a food coalition actually aimed at offer a platform, a multi-stakeholder platform with private sector, academia, farmer organizations, civil society, actually with the aim to provide country-tailored responses to COVID-19 impacts on food systems, including, of course, including the health consequences, of course, of the pandemic on our food system. Thank you so much, Professor. Now I leave the floor to Professor Hector Hernandez, from the Biomedical Engineer Department of the Khalifa University. I forgot in my introduction to mention the Khalifa University as well as the Dubai Future Foundation as the main partners of this initiative. We are always very thankful to them for their cooperation. Professor Hernandez, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ambassador Lehner, for the invitation and to be able to present today. And to everybody else who's attending, excellencies, ministers, and a lot of our colleagues who are also in this field of agriculture research. So I'm going to talk today about a little bit of what I do in my laboratory, but more in general, some of the challenges that we face in current agri-tech and areas. Right? And so a little bit of what my laboratory does is we try to understand what it is that promotes soil health and the ability for plants to survive and to thrive in extreme environments. More and more research shows that the soils and the microbes and the environment, the microbes in the soil help maintain the health of the plants either through dry seasons or through stresses such caused by salinity and by heat. And so in that sense, a lot of the information that we have so far has been driven by collected data by research scientists over time, but the data is mostly, has a lot of holes in it, has a lot of lacking information, so from the metadata. So we see here is kind of an indication of kind of what we do know and what we don't know about plants and the environment. And you see that the total amount of unknown is great, and we have literally sometimes no idea of how big that is. But we have here about 350,000 species that we've identified taxonomically. We have much less trait data, right, and genetic data as compared to what we know about the taxonomic species and the geographical distribution of plants across the world. So one of the challenges and opportunities that hopefully we'll get, but one of the challenges in this whole movement or developing of new crops or new biomass systems that will move away from traditional grains and traditional other plants that are used for growing food right now is, particularly when you're moving into controlled environments, is that we're very limited with the feedstock diversity that we have available to us. The next thing is that we have very few tools for introducing or changing or for directed bioengineering and biotechnology to deal with the increasing range of plants that we have available to us. The other one is traditional breeding takes too long. And we have opportunities here through directed evolution and directed breeding to accelerate the process of that. Traditionally is you look at the story of corn. Corn took about 9,000 years to go from a very small, 30 millimeter, 3 centimeter head to what we see now in the supermarket. One of the things that we face, issues that we face, particularly in the UAE, is training a workforce. Right now, it's mostly through academic programs. So whoever wants to go into the agriculture or the ag tech or the bioengineering space has to proceed through a long academic process to receive a degree. And although that is good, there's some challenges for people who just want to move into that space for food production. The other thing is the challenge of protection of proprietary intellectual property, and not only that, but who owns the data that are produced for some of these omics studies that are done, because there's a lot of value in that intellectual property that's developed by either big agriculture companies or some startups in the biotech area that have some really neat ideas on how to move forward integration in these omics processes. Right. So one of the things that you think about is, okay, we have to now move away from a single kind of lab specific or area specific omics initiative to increase the range of individuals that are involved in these sequencing programs, and to also extend past the genome. Right, so move more into the area of transcriptome analysis, metabolome, look at different interactions between the multiple copies of the genome in plants, and hopefully that information will allow us to develop some molecular genetic tools that we'll be able to then control or implement some control programs into plants to help produce either the flavorants or the long-term or short-term viability of those plants for feed production programs. And all this information hopefully will help to settle the implementation of an accelerated plant trait genetic breeding program. We know from work that's been done in Australia and in other places that we can actually, by changing, not even genetically, but just by changing the environment that the plants are grown, we can decrease the time of annual plants for growth to maturation, so you can get in sometimes 2 or 3 crops per year. Right? The other thing that I think is going to be interesting, particularly for a place like the UAE, is how do you construct a certificate program or certification program that is outside of the purview of a degree program in an academic institution, because there's a great need to train people and bring them up to date with certification for food processing, for food growing, and this goes all the way from the farms to actually the people who take the food out in the grocery stores and put them out for individuals to consume. And the last part is again, this is a recurring theme, is how will the government or how can the government support through different kind of rules that they put in place in legislation, the ability for companies, for individuals to have a protection of their intellectual property that they developed, right? But also support the ability for these individuals to share information across space. I think one of the most interesting examples is what's been doing right now, not only in the country, but across the world, with the sharing of data for the development, for the rapid development of the vaccines, due to the spread of the SARS-CoV-2 virus and the COVID-19 pandemic. So can we develop something like that? Can countries develop something like that to offer that protection for intellectual property, but support that large data sharing system, that process that we need? And so when you look at the omics kind of landscape solution, right, you can see here, the person that is growing the food and processing the food into something we can eat. There has to be some sort of space for us to understanding how the environment is supported either by microbes or by directed evolution in plants. Right? So we can do this by metagenomics. We can do this by whole genome sequencing. Right? Metagenomics gives you an idea of the compounds that are made. And all these things are important for developing flavorants, to developing food production, for developing the next breed of plants that can be grown in a controlled environment versus open field, or increasing the survivability of plants in open fields that now can't. And the big thing about this is to bring plants online that traditionally have not been used for agriculture. And so we have a very narrow range of research that's been done on a set of plants right now that are producing for grains and that sense. And there's a reason for studying them a lot, because there's a lot of potential there for expansion around the world. But we're also missing a whole other set of plants that could be used for food production, not just for humans, but actually for animals and stuff like that. And right here is a couple of the different sorts of technologies for sequencing that are used right now to great success. The Lumina is, of course, the leading one. Ion Torrent was the leading one at the beginning. It's kind of, falling lower on the scale. But PacBio and Oxford Nanopore are the big ones that are coming on the scene, and particularly Oxford Nanopore, because of the amount of data that it can produce and the cost of producing that data. And the biggest thing is that you can actually deploy this in real time in field studies to get information as it's happening in a field space. So the next part of it is that once you create all that data, once you do all that sequencing, once you do all those transcriptome studies, is you have to do something with it. And I think the latest information is that information that's being deposited for bioinformatics data doubles every 7 to 8 months. So there's a lot of sequencing, a lot of bases out there that are being put in these databases that are not being used optimally. And the thing is with scientists, we have a certain question that we're asking. And when you sequence a whole genome, there's a lot of that information in that genome that's not necessarily relevant to what we're doing. Right? So that's one of the challenges that we face. The other thing is a trained workforce. Right? So a lot of the computer programmers and the individuals that are developing algorithms don't necessarily have biological training. So that causes a challenge when deciding when to do algorithm cutoffs, whether or not the information that is coming up from the algorithms is actually relevant. And again, the whole idea of developing industry has to be around protecting intellectual property. And in this case, the ability for these algorithms to be used to mine data, while at the same time providing sort of space for all this information to be shared across the world. And so one of the things that we have for solutions are, of course, machine learning approaches to make associated gene networks across species. We have the development development of algorithms, either heuristic or non-heuristic learning processes or fuzzy logic, to allow to go in and move past the 2 sigma cutoff for upregulation or downregulation of genes to see some of this hidden information, associated information between metabolic pathways, not just across time, but also across space, so the vertical distribution across plants, and also between the growth and the maturation and the late senescence in plants. And we need to develop specific programs for data scientists to be able to have a basic understanding of kind of the bioinformatics landscape, and also kind of, again, have the government support through policy and through development of rules and information where people can share data but also have protection for their intellectual property. And so when you put all that together, right, you can think about this landscape in which you have genomes that you come out of the environment, you have phenomes that come out of the environment. And so you do this big data sequencing, you look at variability across the space of the plants, you look at expression differences, and then you take that information and use machine learning and deep learning to call it, and then reinforced learning, where you take this information from these algorithms and compare it to biological results, right? And then you feed that to some machine learning algorithms that can then look for specific signatures in next generation sequencing information that we've received. And hopefully that'll lead to some prospective analytics or directed kind of finding of metabolic pathways that you're interested in. And then we can develop kind of this intelligent, if you want to call that, smart system for production of chemicals or flavorants or molecules or plants of interest. And so here's a kind of a short kind of synopsis of this process. In this case, by doing site-directed mutagenesis, the old school way, pathway design and enzyme design, and then testing these in a system, right? Doing metabolic analysis or genetic analysis, and then end up, of course, doing reiterative rounds of evolution on a rapid scale on systems. And so at the end of the day, one of the things that you think you can take home from all this is that the long-term reduction in food insecurity, or so increase in food security, is going to be driven by data-centric approaches. And that data-centric approach needs to be part of this multi-omics kind of system, so that then we can provide information for machine learning algorithms to allows us to develop accelerated breeding programs, to be able to select species or accessions of plants for specific product development for specific areas around the world. We need to understand how we can train people, right? In either week-long certificate programs or month-long certificate programs, so that would increase their expertise around food production and food handling systems. And last but not least, we want to be able to have the support, not just inside of the country, but across the country and across the world, for this idea that you can develop intellectual property and make a business out of it, but also be able to share that information with the rest of the world in a way that they can use. And with that, I want to thank the Embassy of Italy, the Dubai Future Foundation, and Khalifa University for providing this opportunity to share with you all this information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor. It's an interesting perspective, actually, the one that you highlight. Highlighted based on data analysis. Thank you so much. And now I leave the floor to Dr. Claudio Zoanni from Enea, especially from the biotechnology and agro-industry division of our Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development. So we are now talking with a representative of another main research center in Italy. Please, Dr. Zoanni, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the invitation. I would really to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present, or to give at least a snapshot, let's say, of the activities that the Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development perform in support to the innovation of the agri-food system. I will try to stay in the 8 minutes, giving a brief overview and then showing some practical examples of what we do and how we transfer our technology development activities. I hope you can properly see my screen. So here you can see that Enea is a public body aimed at research, technological innovation, and provision of advanced services to enterprise, public administration, and citizens in many different sectors. We are arranged in several research centers. They are 9 plus 5 research laboratories, local offices, a Brussels liaison office, and the headquarters that are located in Rome. And we deal with mainly with environment and sustainability, energy technology, energy efficiency, fusion and nuclear safety. And I will focus, of course, on the activities of the biotechnologies and agroindustry division, which is the one more focused on innovation in the agroindustrial system for developing and promote competitiveness in food productions in terms of food quality, safety, sustainability of agri-food systems, and promoting as well the development of food and non-food products with high added value and high technological value in order to improve sustainability, promote circular economy and industrial symbiosis. And also in the division, we develop methods and technologies for innovation and traceability of productions, processing and marketing chains of agricultural and food products, also for enhancing consumer confidence in the whole food chain. And we are arranged with 3 main laboratories or sections, we can say, that deal particularly with biotechnologies, agri-food sustainability, quality and safety, bioproducts and bioprocesses. And here you can see the main thematic research fields and the main research facilities that we host as division in several research centers of Enea. We are, let's say, a distributed division in many research centers, the most important of which is the Casaccia Research Center, which is located nearby to Rome. And we deal with innovative biotechnology products, processes and systems for bioeconomy, precision and resilient agriculture for sustainability and for integrated pest management of productions, food traceability, quality and safety. And I would like to say more widely with food integrity, involving also ethics of production, innovation, and so on. And innovative processes and products for human health and well-being. And the main characteristic is that we apply in our activities of research and technology transfer transversal, interdisciplinary and multi-actor approach, trying to involve all the so many different actors that are interested in the agri-food sector. Now I would like to introduce one of our main activities for joining efforts, let's say, and put together all the facilities that we have, not only the our one, but also the other institutes in Italy and in Europe, which is Metrofood and RAI. It is the research infrastructure that entered the ESFRI Roadmap 2018 for the domain health and food, which is devoted to provide high-level metrology services in food and nutrition for enhancing food quality and safety, with an approach that in fact covers the whole food production chain from primary production to final consumption, and not only food matrices, but also the environment, food packaging, contact materials, retail and post-retail aspects, and which is indeed coordinated by Enea, and is currently supported by Horizon 2020 funding with a project which is aimed to support Metrofood for its operation and for getting its own legal status as an ERIC. And here you can see the current partnership and ongoing cooperation. So Enea coordinates a network of 48 research institutions from 18 European countries, and the Italian participation is very, very important, with the Joint Research Unit, which involves also other institutes that are giving their presentation today, like CREA, CNR, or some others, like many universities and the Italian Health Institute and the Italian Metrology Institute, and we are supported by several international organizations like EFSA, for example, and we cooperate with the Food Authenticity Network, and we have ongoing several cooperation also, let's say, at global level outside Europe, and I sincerely hope that this could be an occasion to extend, let's say, the MetroFood global cooperation also with Emirates. And here you can see how it is composed at MetroFood Array, which is in practice combining the physical and the electronic infrastructure. The physical one realizes a network of facilities that are plants for reference material development and analytical laboratories covering every aspect of characterization of the agri-food system, with more than 120 laboratories dealing with analytical chemistry, microbiology, physical chemical characterization, and so on. And the so-called food side, with which networks experimental fields, farms, experimental plants for studying food processing and storage, up to the so-called kitchen labs, where we test and study the domestic practices for handling, preparing, cooking, and storing foods in order to study the effects of consumer habits on food quality and safety. And then we have an electronic platform where we integrate and try to make it really interoperable and share and reuse. So by applying the FAIR approach to data that indeed deal with food quality and safety, food traceability, nutrition, food composition, and so on. And so, which is the purpose? It's in practice the role of research infrastructures, which is to be service-oriented organization, also applying an innovation-oriented approach for supporting excellent science and knowledge transfer for innovation, facilitate, in fact, innovation, joint efforts for avoiding duplication, and for putting together the research efforts for providing services to different actors and transfer technologies also to, in this case, to food business operators dealing with the agri-food, trying to realize a connected ecosystem, let's say, for providing resources for advanced research. And in this sense, MetroFood Array is able to provide services, many different types of services. Here you can see a sort of summary or schematic summary of these categories of services, I would say, that are related to metrology and standardization, agro-ecosystem characterization, food analysis, food packaging testing, services that are related to the improvement of food production and consumption, e-services, and so on. And our four main categories of users are researchers and academic, policymakers and food inspection and control agencies, food business operators and consumers that can access to the facilities having provided physical, remote, or virtual access for benefiting of our facilities. And here you can see a couple of examples of the services that we are currently, these services are currently being provided to who applied to our last calls for access. One is dedicated, is more oriented to researchers, and it is remote access to a transmission electron microscopy facility for physical chemical characterization of nanoparticles in food. And the other one is instead, let's say, more addressed to food business operators, and in fact it is the physical access to food pilot plants for demonstrating to bakery producers processes and how to minimize in their acrylamide in bakery products in order to in fact optimize their processes. And these are a couple of examples of many different types of services like this one that we can provide. Here, another example of an activity where Enea and our division is involved that is somehow related to the also to the activities that I showed with Metro Food RI, and it is in the frame of STUS Food Core Organic 2 funded project, which is aimed to use protein and biomolecular sources for nutritional security and biodiversity of bakery products in a circular food system. The project is named in fact Provide, and what we do here is to apply our technology and transfer them to food producers for extracting high added value molecules from byproducts and wastes of different food products that are in fact sources of proteins and bioactive compounds, and make them, transform them, let's say, in new ingredients. So in a view of a circular economy and also in an industrial symbiosis perspective, use these, let's say, new ingredients for producing bakery products with high added value and covering both organic and conventional productions. And in fact, for example, we cooperate here not only with research institutions, but also with producers and Italian producers as well, that on the one hand can provide, let's say, their byproducts and see how to valorize them. And on the other hand, we have bakery producers to which we can transfer the technology for them producing by their own these high added value food products. I thank you all for your attention. I hope to having been on time, and of course I'm at your disposal for any type of question or for deepening the details.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zani, for your presentation. Also here, I mean, we have seen a very wide range of research topics, mainly related to safety of food. And thank you very much. You mentioned as the Italian entities with which Enea cooperates, CREA, which I mean has already, is with us and has already spoken, and also the National Research Council. And I give the floor now to Dr. Antonio Lo Grieco, who is the director of the Institute of Sciences and Food Production within our Research Council. Dr. Lo Grieco, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lehner, and thanks to all audience. So my talk will focusing on safety and quality in a sustainable food chain in a changing world. So this is an overview, a quick overview about what is going on in our institutes as well as in our departments. So just a few words about institutes. It is Science of Food Production, and it's belong to the National Research Council of Italy. It's the biggest research center in Italy, and with different disciplines from medical science to agri-food, to physics, and so on. This is a big added value since we can interact with different expertise on specific goals. So our institutes belong to the Department of Bioscience departments. There are 9 institutes spread the different regions of Italy. And particularly our institute is located, has a headquarters in Bari, but also have different center in different different regions of Italy. So this is quite consistent in terms of number of researchers and activity. So the methods that we apply is as a multidisciplinary, as I said before, about concerning all expertise present in our regional research center. And then also this another is to study all the food chain from farm to fork. So this is our policy in order to apply our activity in real life science. So some number about to think about, as Lily said before, so this is a big challenge for the future about population, and then also for double production in developing countries. So this is, of course, is increasing population. Another challenge is Italian sounding. So we have to emphasize, we have to highlight the made in Italy, so that what is a big experience, a big tradition that we have to take in account in our studies. And then food safety, this is in terms of possible risk in the future due to also the climate change. So consider food safety, so food allergy. This is one of the most important topics, but also the obesity. This is another challenge that we have to tackle, to address, and then also the edible parts of the food that we have to take on, and food waste, of course, because this is a great source of different possible application studies. So the contribution, briefly, I'd like to talk with you about the food quality, food safety, functional foods, novel foods, and sustainability. This is a very quick overview. This is a requirement, this is food authenticity, innovation of traditional products, extended products, so shelf life, and green labels. This is a different application. And then this food authenticity, just a brief case study that I like to highlight. This is, for example, the use of different fatty acids in order to authenticate some cheese produced on mountains in Italy with successful outcomes with the autochthonous starter culture. So we have a great experience of using of these different microorganisms, yeast, lactic acid bacteria, Saccharomyces, and Penicillium salami for example, for bakery products, or for cheese or wine and the other stuff. And then, so this is shelf life extension. This is another important topic. So that we use antimicrobial metabolites, as well as also application of lactic acid bacteria and antimicrobial protein in order to extend the shelf life of bread, mozzarella, and vegetable in general. Then moving on mild technology, also this is another big challenge. So we use a high energy, short cooking time in order to preserve the original taste, but also we include modifying the storage factors with different temperature, gas, atmosphere, relative humidity, and packaging in order also in this case to extend the shelf life of our products. And then moving on food and feed safety, this is also a big important challenge. And then so we have the requirement is to provide new information, prevention and control of mycotoxin and toxin fungi, provide analytical methods, tools, and new process and technology. So pathogens, so we have we can use a microwave and the ozone in order to use this pathogen in different food and surface. And for mycotoxin, we have a long-standing experience about how we can minimize this contamination along chain from field to fork by the degradation of mycotoxin or light systems, or for example by applying methods developing for analyze these multi-mycotoxin in different commodities by developing also rapid methods. And then also we can move on allergens. This is another important topic by screening, rapid screening and confirmative methods for detection of multi-allergens in food processing. Heavy metals also is an important topic, in order just out of nickel, cobalt, chromium, and in order to reducing also these heavy metals in a longer chain. Functional food. This is another important part of our activity. We are dealing about nutrition, health, and well-being. So, in other words, the relationship between food and health in general terms. So now we develop different nutraceuticals by using lactic acid bacteria. Enriched food with innovative technology for stabilization of these bioactive compounds, and also by using marine biomass as jellyfish. We have a long-standing experience also in these parts. Probiotic foods, we patented different way to using the probiotic vegetable in order to manipulate the gut microbiome in terms of functional food, in terms to functionalize this food for a better health. This is for hedgehog, olives, cabbage, and fish. So we have really good biotechnology action. Biofortification, this is a very important activity. We can use a different agronomic approach in order to biofortify this plant, and then to demonstrate the bioaccessibility of bioavailability of these compounds during the chain. And we demonstrate also biological activity on different target tissues. Novel foods, this is a future challenge in order to require the grow population, of course, in order to go further food security, and then for the democratic change, in order to diversify the diets in Europe and as well as the rest of the world. So we are studying the insect protein with the different aspect with studying the new proteins, and also poultry and fish feeds for animal consumption. Sustainability has last activity is a requirement is of course this is for food security, and then we have our goal is to reduce the carbon footprints, maintain valorized animal and vegetable biodiversity, and also for reduce quality losses, extend the shelf life, and the use of byproducts, bio-waste, and the recovery of food waste. In this case, we have a crop production level. For example, we use different biosensors, and in order to make more efficient the irrigation system in greenhouse as well as in the field. And then for the crop, from after consumption of processing, also we have a great expertise and experience in order to the recovery of bioactive compounds from different waste, by recovery phytochemicals, and also for total recovery of edible parts from different waste along the chain. So this is our idea is there is still much work to be done for a better world. Of course, this is just a part of some experience and some real life transfer activity. And then thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Doctor. A very interesting presentation. Actually, and with many suggestions, I think many elements of interest for all of us. And as regards novel food, I can just mention that a prize will be launched here in the UAE. I think it's a piece of information of yesterday. It's a project called X Prize Feed the Next Billion competition. It's a $15 million project, and the challenge actually is to develop alternatives to chicken and fish. It's a competition organized by the Advanced Technology Research Council in Abu Dhabi. It's just as a complement of information for all of you and your research activities. Now, thank you very much. We have exhausted the first session, and this is actually the moment in which we miss maybe the in-presence mode, because normally when you finish a session, you start a coffee break, maybe after we saw so many, so wide range of food. This could be actually a nice way to make a break. Unfortunately, we cannot, so we go on immediately to the second, we proceed with the second session. We are a little bit, delaying, compared to our agenda, but all the presentations were pretty much interesting. So I now beg the following and the coming speakers maybe to get a little bit shorter, maybe to try to make some pitches, in maybe 5 minutes each, if I'm not asking too much. We start with quite an important cluster. It's the cluster Agri-Food Nazionale CLAN, Luca Simone Coccolin, Professor Coccolin, Professor of Agriculture, Microbiology, who can give us an idea about this quite an important cluster. There is a question posed by made by a participant in this webinar. The question, a general question, but maybe you can start giving an answer. What are Italian food companies looking to do in the UAE in terms of investment? This is a question for you, maybe, and for the coming, especially Italian companies. Professor Coccolin, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First of all, thanks for the invitation. I'm Luca Coccolin. I'm from the University of Turin in Italy. Actually, I'm a food microbiologist, so looking very specific into some of the issues that have been described and have been touched in the previous species. I'm here today representing the Agri-Food Cluster, an organization that is actually, I would say, rather new in the scenario, in the national and international scenario. Just to go back to your question, because this is actually a very challenging question, because again, I'm not from an industry, so I can give you my perspective and being collaborating with that industry. Industry is actually looking into globalization more and more, and I would say that what has been happening with the last pandemic actually put into the scene the fact that if companies are not open-minded and they don't have open markets, practically it's going to be very, very difficult to survive in the market. So I would say that for sure, what the food industries in Italy are looking for new markets, for sure. And I would say that what has been mentioned also before as the Made in Italy is probably one of the biggest wins that Italy can sell also in other countries and in global markets. So this is a little bit my view, but I'm sure that the speakers that will follow me, probably they have also other positions, let's say, of other or other contributions. So as I said before, here I'm representing the cluster. The cluster is actually positioning itself in a very important sector, that is the food and beverage sector in Italy. And as you can see, practically those are just some numbers that have been elaborated. And it is astonishing the fact that some of the numbers in terms of businesses, in terms of employments, and in terms of expenditure is really, really big. I just want to highlight how, and this is actually related to what I said before, exports are important. There is one important aspect that I would like to underline, because this is a little bit a kind of European situation, not only Italian situation, where most of the companies are actually small and medium enterprises. And between the small and medium, I would say that small is even more important than medium. So a lot of companies in Italy and food companies in Italy are actually formed by a very few people. And so you can imagine that the challenges that they are facing in the actual situation is even bigger. So the cluster is, as I said before, is a kind of new organization, has been established after the 2010 as practically, I would like to describe the Agri-Food National Technology Cluster as a kind of facilitator, putting together and linking all the national players of the agri-food chain. One of the most important aspects of the clan is the fact that there are representatives of industry, there are representatives of research, and there are representatives of the territories. So for instance, in Italy, we have what they are called regional clusters that not only they are putting into a context or into a system the companies that are located in a specific geographic region, but they are also interconnecting it with the national cluster. As you can see, it has been recognized in 2018 and in 2019 is officially recognized by the Ministry of Education, University and Research. As I said before, the cluster has a mission of being an aggregation and coordination body. It works for integration, is an advisory to policymakers, and is also establishing of ad hoc partnership. And I'm going to give you some examples in the following slides. Internalization is important, as we said before, and then it is an important body that is looking into dissemination and communication. So far, the membership has collected 112 members, and now you can see practically the two main layers of participation are from industries with 45 members and research with 51 members. Into research, we have both research centers like ENEA and CNR, but we have also universities. And then we have regional clusters or regional, let's say, bodies representing the territory. This is an example on how the cluster contributed in terms of policy making, in a sense that the cluster has prepared a roadmap for research and innovation in the agri-food sector. This was presented in 2016, and then it has been renewed in 2019, and that's been presented to the ministry. An important role of the cluster was in the national strategy of bioeconomy. It also represented, or it took some representations inside of the newly approved national research program, the PNR, where it was also part of a strategic group. In terms of projects, here you have 3 examples of projects that have been funded in the first call when the cluster practically was moving its first steps. We have projects related to nutrition, related to food safety, related to sustainability. Those are the ones that we can present. Of course, those are projects that have been reached the end of it, but some of them have continued to work because those are activities that are actually in place now. You can see the first 3 ones that actually are connecting very well to Dr. Logrieco's talk because our activities of the CNR, the National Research Center, on contaminants, food authentication, optimization of water use. We have then also some other type of projects related to valorization of activities, and the Fila Val, for instance, is for the dairy chain in the south of Italy. And then we have the pack chain related to what it was said before from Enea, working very much into the packaging system for more sustainable and increasing shelf life. Those are recent international activities because, again, the clan has been active in a number of activities. Here, I would like to highlight the last one, that is the network partner of the EIT Food. EIT Food is one of the biggest initiatives that are at the moment going on in Europe, where Italy, as you can see, has played an important role from the very beginning. You can see on your left the amount of money that has been collected and the growth of the partnership. EIT Food at this moment is focusing on 6 thematic subjects. You can see them there that are highly, highly important by the strategic point of view. And I'm just reporting here the EIT Food as a way of collaborating, because the more and more we go ahead with the EIT Food, the more and more open calls are going to be published, where also partners not specifically into the partnership of EIT Food will be allowed. So this is a kind of territory where it can be explored, the collaboration also with the colleagues in your country. This is the website. You can just click clusteragrifood.it to have a look of it. And with that, I'm just closing, and I'm just leaving space to the other speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Coccolin. And now we have an outstanding Italian UAE company, which is the Al Dahra, a leading company at international level in the agricultural sector. Mr. Sulaiman Al Nuaimi, responsible for government relation activities. Mr. Al Nuaimi, the floor is yours. You are in a car, but I hope that you can speak to us. Thank you.
You welcome, Your Excellency, and thank you for this opportunity for Al Dahra and for our team. Just I need to mention the first about what is Al Dahra. Al Dahra is the semi-government company, and Al Dahra owned 500,000 acres in the 5 continents in the world. Our strategy when we started for Al Dahra for support the food security for our country and other countries also. What's the element we use it to improve our production, to improve our land, to improve our food and feed production also. This is about some elements we use it, and in our strategy of Al Dahra, for example, land reclamation, and also we can use it some labs and test all soil and elements, quality control for all our production, like fertilizer, pesticide, seeds, and so on. Also, when we started for the land, we used the last technology for the laser control equipment for the land leveling. During operation also, automatically we use control machines, moderate irrigation system, like subsoil irrigation. We use it in the United States and to other countries also. We use also a system like sprinkler and also BFOS mist irrigation, and the last two months we signed MOU with Notifim irrigation company. This is, I think, the best company for the irrigation system in worldwide. Also, Al-Dhahra farms globally getting the global gap credits, and also use very quality equipments in our production, and also world-class posted, harvested, packhouse factories, and also we have very well controlled by supply chain. Also, we have international networks with the main supplier and the main food and feed, also production and processing. All this is elements we use it in Al-Dhahra to processing the food and supply the food for UAE and other countries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Noraimi, for providing us an idea about all the innovation that you are, sorry, my video is here, all the innovation that you are using in your activity, around the world. I think that there is actually scope for cooperation also with Italian research centers and companies. Among them,
and also I need to add something. We have 2.5% of our employees from Italy.
You said 2.5?
2.5. Oh my God, 2.5% of our employees in worldwide from Italy.
Okay, 2.5%, I guess. Okay, percent. Okay, sorry, I thought I understood 2.5 persons. I was worried for the 0.5%. Thank you. No, it's very interesting. It's it gives us an idea of the international cooperation that we are having and the cooperation with Italy. Among the companies, if I understand well, among the companies, the Italian companies with which you are cooperating, there are some companies in the sector of dry fodder. We have now with us the president of the Italian Dry Fodder Association, Dr. Gianluca Bagnara. Doctor, I'm pleased to give you the floor to explain, what the sector does in Italy and which are the opportunities for cooperation with you. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me? It's fine?
Now yes, please.
Okay, can you see the slides too?
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for this opportunity. I would like also thanks Your Excellency, the Minister Al-Mulhaisi, for this opportunity to share and networking with the Emirate institution and enterprise. Our value chain is pretty connected to Al-Dhahra since many times we work together. And I would like to get an expression from the statistics. In statistics, they said garbage in, garbage out. If data are poor inside, in the beginning are poor, also results are poor. In our chain, we want to say, good feed in, good food out. So if we want to have a good food, we need to feed very well our animals. Does it work? Okay. The value chain represent in Italy, we have about 80,000 hectares in many regions of Italy. And we start a few years ago just to be more market oriented. And now we can say that about 50% of our production is exported with a nice trend and potential. That means that the value chain is quite appreciated in the worldwide market for animal feeding. We rank second in Europe after Spain for the production of dried fodder, just dried fodder that represent about 10% of our the total production of forages in Italy. And benefit potential of this value chain were many. With respect to other producer leader like United States, the American production or other country, we have no GM product. It's natural product, so natural genetic. We work with population that very particular from our land. From sustainable agriculture, marginal land, land reclamation or no water irrigation, the process is made with high tech in the field. So the product might be treated good in the field, in the proper way in the field. Another point is very important. The product is treated with high temperature in processing. That means no dust, no stones, no soil or other material inside these forages, the alfalfa. Second point is sanification. We can guarantee with the HACCP process approved by our Minister of Health that we have a sanification and traceability of the product. So the product is not treated natural dirt in the field, but is clean and is guarantees with high quality at the end, the final consumer. Another point is especially for the digester fibrous, integration of natural fibers is already in the field. So quite often people used to mix alfalfa with other products, and our top quality products, then Gran Foraggio is a natural forage. We produce in pellet or balloons or other. Is a natural mix of alfalfa and natural grains direct in the field. Is in the literature is called Italian spring grass or Italian ray grass, and it is typical of our land. I want to stress not just Italian scientific world is studying this product, the Italian raygrass, but also and now the American institution are studied since the potential is specific for the physiology of the cow and the livestock. But we need to adopt a specific index for this kind of product, not just the NDF ratio, but RFQ. That means evaluate the potential protein inside this product and the potential also the fiber, nitrogen fiber, especially for as a dairy forage. What we want to stress is we have to think about precision feeding. We need specific diet according to the physiology of the animal. It's like for us. We need a specific diet according to the season or according to our health. And so the animal is the same. We cannot consider just the same standard of protein or the same standard of fiber for the animals. That's why we want to export not just a commodity, but we want to stress a collaboration and force a collaboration with the final producer, also the research institution in the place, in order to finalize and improve the idea of precision feeding for the final animal. That's why the relative forage quality index better reflect the higher quality of the digestion of grasses, and so how feeding grass impact the energy intake and the potential. That's why we, in nature, the nature provide us the final product we can use in our livestock. Here, just some information, more scientific information. We can work together, of course, in order to adopt this index RFQ, in order to better identify the feed for the physiology of the animal. I guess it's just some cue to work together, since we want to partnership for a precision animal nutrition in sustainable livestock supply chain. Natural in the field, natural for the animal, and natural also for our food, for our proteins. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. And natural, but also with some technology and research behind. So, I mean, your sector is very much interesting actually to highlight the innovation behind natural products such as the dried fodder. Thank you very much. And now we have another UAE company, Mr. Emil Muzarkel, which is the COO of Elite Agro. Muzarkel. I hope to be, to have put, right the accent, sir. And there was a question by a participant actually directed to the say Emirati companies, which is. Do you, are you planning to increase imports from food imports from Italy? And in the affirmative case, which kind of food? I just forward this question to you, if you could answer to it. And now I give the floor to you, please.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador and Her Excellency, the Minister. My name is Emil. I am the COO of Elite Agro. I graduated from Italy, so it is a big privilege for me to participate in this webinar. I graduated in 1992-94. Master in Bari. So in the company, they call me the Italian guy, because we do big business with all the Italian largest company in regarding all agriculture technology, manufacturing, and building, especially high density orchards, apples, all kinds of fruits around the world. So let me start, give a brief about Elite Agro. So Elite Agro belongs to a large group called Yas Holding. We are the agriculture arm for the investment worldwide for Yas Holding. We have agriculture division and food division. In the food division, we have one of the largest dairy farms in UAE, more than 5,000 milking cows. Also, we have around 20,000 sheep. And of course, we have other part of the food. I am personally responsible about all the operation of the agro business of the company inside UAE and outside. At the moment, I'm speaking from our division in Serbia, where we have 12,000 hectares, one of the largest division under operation. So in UAE, we are specialized mostly in fruit and vegetable production. inside UAE, we are the largest company because we have more than 4,000 hectares under production, where we have 200 hectares of vegetable and fruit under production in different and various structure, from medium, low tech to high tech. Also, Elite Agro has its own company, we call it Elite Project, where we build our farm ourselves inside UAE and outside UAE. We have all the latest technology like Al-Dahra company. We have glass houses, greenhouses, net houses, open field. In the open field, as the minister mentioned, we are the largest producer of open field vegetable in UAE. We produce more, at the moment we planted already 400 hectares of potato, for example, 200 hectares of sweet potato, onion, iceberg lettuce, all type of vegetable in the open field. Plus we have forages also. We have approximately 2,000 hectares in Morocco, 5,000 hectares in Mauritania, 12,000 hectares in Serbia. We start operation in Ethiopia in cut flowers also, and berries. We are start operation of 15,000 hectares of rice production in Sierra Leone. We will be one of the largest company in Africa producing rice in one farm. So we are doing now all the aerial surveying using the latest technology, and we will develop all the irrigation. So from what I saw in the webinar, we can connect after it. There is a lot of potential cooperation between especially CREA and other people. So please, we can have separate meeting regarding that. So I'm very pleased with the webinar participant, because we could make a lot of cooperation. Also, we are starting in Indonesia, 9,000 hectares, Malaysia, 5,000 acres. We will be growing all tropical fruit with the largest trading companies. We are going to Egypt. We will start in Saudi. We start operation in Jordan. So we have a big plan, but because of the COVID-19, some of the project put a little bit on hold, but at the moment we are starting. So this part of what we are doing. Today, I would like to mention that one of the major pillar for food security in UAE is soil and water. As everyone knows, in UAE, there is the lack of the water, and the RO, if we want to use desalinated water, is very expensive, and also the challenge of the soil. The soil is a little bit, it's 100% sandy, 0.5% organic matter, and also in some part of the country, the soil is saline and sodic soil. So we are acquiring a company that has a technology which is called MaxGrow, to try to make sure that what we want to achieve as expansion in UAE for food security as per Her Excellency, we have also a solution for that. And we make several experiments with this technology, and we are getting very good result. We are able to produce vegetable at 8,000 parts per million of the water. We arrive to 11,000 parts per million, where we have reduction a little bit in the yield. This technology doesn't alter the EC or the alkalinity or the pH. What it does, it breaks the cation and the anion in the water for maximum 48 hours. So you can't have a reservoir of the water where you can store the treated water or the treated wastewater, because after 48 hours, the anion and the cation in the water will come back to its normal form. So what it does, it is very simple technology, low maintenance. It has a radio wave that it injects 2,000 waves per second, and it can split the sodium chloride, so the water can be available to the plant. So really, it is very impressive, the result we have. We also submit to some instrument to the government in UAE. We have it installed in all our farms, and I hope we will have the exclusive distributor of this technology in UAE and in GCC in the coming few weeks. And I'm ready to take some of the questions later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, a very interesting technology. Thank you very much. Well, also for explaining to us, I mean, where Elitagro is operating around the world, which kind of productions, and for your openness to cooperation with Italian entities. Good afternoon, Mr. Lavallo from Abu Dhabi Investment Office. Thank you for being with us. You are the head of foreign direct investment at ADIO. ADIO is the office is in charge with the attraction of investments in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, and we've seen also in the last month that a number of investments in the agricultural sector have been promoted and facilitated by ADIO. So the floor is yours, Mr. Lavallo. Thank you for being with us.
Grazie, Ambassador. Ciao a tutti, sono Salvatore Lavallo. Sono felice di presentarvi a tutti voi. Mi dispiace che il mio accento sia così cattivo. Mio padre è siciliano, ma io sono americano e da 10 anni vivo negli UAE. I will now switch to English, which will be much easier for everybody, and I will start the presentation about the Abu Dhabi Investment Office. So the investment office was begun about 2 years ago as the central government hub for investment in the United Arab Emirates and in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. One of the first focuses of the investment office was agriculture, and it has been one of the main focuses for us in the past 2 years. We like to start a lot of our presentations with quotations from our visionary leadership and our founding father, Sheikh Zayed, who said, "Give me agriculture and I will give you civilization." I think this is an important quotation because it shows that agriculture and moving towards innovation in agriculture is not something that is new to the UAE and is not something that is new to Abu Dhabi. Innovation in this space has always been at the forefront of our thinking and the leadership's thinking as well. So when we look at how the growth of agriculture in Abu Dhabi has changed in the past few decades from our founding, we've had a 900% increase in farms. There's 25,000 farms in Abu Dhabi, 35,000 in the UAE. We've also launched one of the world's first ministries of food security, now the Office of Food and Water Security. We have ourselves as the investment office launched a 1 billion dirham, or about $270 million ag tech program in early 2019. Through that program, we have supported 7 different agriculture technology companies that I will get to in a moment for about 500 million dirham, or $140 million. We've also done some incredible policy changes, such as changing the Musataha program, which is the government land leasing program. And through that program, we have awarded 5 new agricultural investment projects. So what's exciting about the UAE is always how much we are moving towards the future and always developing. And looking specifically at the opportunity in agriculture technology, it's been growing year on year pretty significantly, over 9% a year from somewhat of a low beginning, but really moving into innovative and more technologically savvy ways of production. However, this growth in our local production is really outweighed by the growth in food demand, which has led us to have 90% of our food imports. But the way that we're looking at changing this is really by having a good ecosystem of support that is giving favorable logistics, that is giving favorable land, that has utility pricing. So really trying to build an ecosystem that really supports and nurtures agricultural investment. I think it's very important to always think about all of the different entities. You've heard from a lot of my different colleagues today, and we'll continue to hear from some, as well as our leadership, Her Excellency Mariam. You know, we work all together. We really want to present a one Abu Dhabi and one UAE approach, so that all of these entities that you see here, whether policy and regulator partners, operators within the field, private sector, or public sector, we really all do have a shared vision of what we are looking for in Abu Dhabi. And we work very closely together to make sure that investors and companies looking at expanding into Abu Dhabi get the full menu of options that are available to them. In terms of the specific vision that we have at the investment office, again, we are not the strategy owners of the agricultural sector. We are purely the private sector enabling body. But what we're looking at and taking that strategy from the Office of Food and Water Security, and also from the Abu Dhabi Agriculture and Food Safety Authority, is really kind of two main goals. One is on the food security side. And when we look at food security, we're not just saying our own local production or the food needs within our own country, but we're looking at how can we develop solutions here in Abu Dhabi that can be globally exported, that can help these challenges all around the world. The second focus that we have, or the second vision that we have, is on building a desert and arid climate agriculture innovation hub. We see that increasingly the world is getting harsher climates. About a third of the world's population lives in desert and arid climates. And so we're again looking at how can we create solutions that will help the population and the farmers in Abu Dhabi, but also that can be exported around the world and to support more innovations in this type of environment and in these climates around the world. In terms of how we support companies in order to do this, we offer at the investment office financial as well as non-financial incentives. On the financial side, our main support is through a rebate incentive program. In this program, we're able to cover a key percentage of cost centers that are incurred in Abu Dhabi on a pay and reclaim reimbursement basis. So what we typically cover is two areas. Number one is the innovation costs. So we're able to cover the high-skilled payroll, we're able to cover the high-tech CapEx, and then we're also able to cover what we call cost competitiveness areas, which might be the utility costs or the land cost or customs duties, anything that would really affect the company and enable them to be more successful. We really are able to provide a bespoke and individualized approach to each company in order to see what moves the needle for them. What are the barriers that we can take out in order to make them more successful? Also on the financial side, we always connect the companies that we're looking at with our ecosystem partners, whereas we provide non-dilutive incentives. We don't take any equity, we don't take any IP ownership, we don't take any commercial interest, but there are other players that we work very closely with that can provide that equity, that can provide other incentives, some of which you've heard about today. On the non-financial side, we have three main areas of support that we give. The first is through an investor concierge service. This is a white glove end-to-end service for helping companies to expand into Abu Dhabi. Of course, coming into any new market is a difficult thing to do. And so our investor concierge is really there to help with visas, to help with office space, regulations, licensing, really any questions that you might have about establishing in Abu Dhabi. And they're also there throughout the journey to assist in anything that might be needed, especially on the government side. We also then have, for every company that we enter into an incentive program with, a relationship manager. We will meet quarterly or monthly, as much as the company needs, in order to continue to connect them with the broader ecosystem, to help them be aligned with the strategies, and to see whatever kind of support they might need. We really view this as long-term partnerships, and we try and find the best ways that we are able to support them. And then finally, on the non-financial side, we integrate everybody within the broader ecosystem, connecting them to the strategy players like the Office of Food and Water Security, or DAFSA, also with the universities that have agricultural programs like UAEU College of Agriculture, also connecting them with the National Wholesaler Salal. All of that ecosystem, really giving them that one Abu Dhabi government approach. We are always here to help in any ways that we can, and always looking to support each company in the specific ways that are useful to them. In terms of the companies that we have supported, again, we have publicly announced support for 7 companies for a total of $150 million in the past year. We have 3 of these are closed environment agricultural companies. So AeroFarms, a company from the United States, is creating an innovative, one of its kind, technological R&D center here in Abu Dhabi that has 6 different laboratories, such as precision phenotyping and organoleptic research, to see what are the best ways to get new cultivars and new approaches to closed environment agriculture. And then Madar Farms is a locally grown UAE company that is building a large indoor farm in Kizad. And then we have Pure Harvest, which is another locally grown closed environment agricultural company that is building a new and large farm here in Al Ain, in the second city within the Abu Dhabi Emirate. And then we've been incentivized for precision agricultural companies. And we like to say that we're looking really dynamically across the entire value chain. So we have, going from right to left, we have Fresh to Home, which is an aquaculture company out of India that has the world's largest e-commerce for fish. So they have an AI and blockchain enabled platform that allows the fish product to be tracked from the fisherman to the table. Responsive Drip Irrigation is an innovative irrigation company out of the United States, which is the first company in the world to have a technology that allows plants to self-regulate their irrigation, their water intake by using a chemical reaction to the root exudates that the plants produce when they are looking for their roots to grow. RNZ is a company that started in India but has been in the UAE for about 25 years, and they are doing innovative R&D in fertilizers, both organic, inorganic, and nano fertilizers. And then we have NanoRacks, which is a really fun and exciting company which does space agricultural research. So earlier this year, we had our first astronaut, Hazza, from the UAE go into space. He brought a lot of agricultural research with him, all of which was provided by NanoRacks. NanoRacks is the largest private sector owner of testing space on the International Space Station, and they will be using Abu Dhabi as their hub for space agriculture. We're very excited to be looking at many, many other companies that we'll be announcing in the future, connecting with our ecosystem players, and we would love to have some Italian companies as well to be present in Abu Dhabi and supported by the investment office. We are really happy to speak with anybody. Let us know any questions that you might have. You can contact us by email at inquiries@audio.ae or visit our website, investinabudabi.gov. So really happy to hear from many more of you. Maybe practice the Italian, make my Nana a little bit prouder. So we look forward to hearing from you soon, and God willing, we will welcome you in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Zavala. It's been very interesting to see, which are the facilitations, incentives, and assistance that ADIO provides to foreign companies, interested in investing in Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much. Among them, one of the possible, let's say, companies interested in this is Itronic. We have with us Professor Marco Vieri from the University of Florence. They are studying some innovation to be applied also to agriculture, but I don't want to spoil your presentation. Professor Vieri, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much to all of you. Good morning, everyone. I have to say thank you to the Ambassador Lehner, to Mrs. Minster, and to Roberto Matti of the Itronic, that is a company that share with the university a pole of innovation in Tuscany, and a new partnership between several companies and research institutes in the central Italy. Our expertise in this enterprise is about robotics in agriculture. And what contribution we can offer about the current challenges. Our contribution is on smart farming that could be a valuable tools in this content to improve production and in a sustainability way. And in the supply chain, we act in the first step about production with the development and test and providing field and machine sensor, aerial drone, satellite imaginary, decision support system, data for all the supply chain. And we have just developed a new approach to the smart farming system, thanks to the use not only of measurement instrument of mechanical, but also by the allocation in the business model view. My name is Marco Vieri. I am professor. I belong to the University of Florence in the Department of Agriculture, Food, Environment, Forestry, and in particular, I deal with biosystem engineering. Our laboratory since 1924 have been developing farm machinery tools and farm machinery innovation, both in national and international context. I am also president of the section Farm Machinery and High-Tech Farming of the Italian Association of Agricultural Engineering. Our recent experience is on Digital Innovation Hub to aid farm machinery to be more traceable, more precise, and so on. Another important point about the new strategy, the new strategies of approach in smart farming is about the adoption and diffusion of innovation. And we, in the next 2 days, we have the finance conference of the Sparkle project that is a holistic vision, an holistic e-learning course about how to use, how to apply, how to adopt, how to insert smart farming in the different scenario and context. Since 1995, we developed variable rate implement equipped with proximal remote sensing, and we have been applying on robotics with a youth project, the REA project, and recently with the SMASH project, in which we develop in the excellent pole of innovation of Tuscany, a new approach. Thanks to the cooperation with Itronics, we are developing a new robots, more reliable and more appropriate for the farmer, with the key point is to have a technological readiness level up to 8, so quite available for the market for the farmers. Itronic has a great role in this project with his experience, an experience that is from the early years of the 2000, developing pioneer technology for self-driving cars, marine, submarines, aerial. And recently, the experience of Itronics is about the comfort drones, safe software and hardware for robotic cooperation. The rule of robotics is to make a fleet of robots that in interactive action can manage through the company service operation in a farm. What is the collaboration scenario with the UAE? Through the Embassy of Italy and the University of Khalifa and Dubai Future Foundation, we may start industrial and research partnership, joint project, joint venture, investment into startup and capital stock, students exchange program for university and research center. But the focus point is of the last Nuvibot experience and a partnership in an excellent pole in Tuscany on IT farming and digital farming to create agricultural autonomous robot for viticulture, nursery, and so on. The aim is to offer a ready level technology for autonomously guided robot for example, two main difficult operation like spraying and weeding, and the key points of the project is save water, half of the water using in spraying pesticide and so on. Use hybrid power and have more time to 24-hour availability of time for operation, with more precise operation and with saving material research, and also with a logistic design, also transport in field, less weight, as to say, less compaction and more respect for the soil. And last but not least, the social innovation, because of we need agroelectronic, agroinformatic, new people that can take the role of ancillary service in the farming, comprehensive farming scenario. This is the partnership of this last enterprise, last project, and here you can see my reference to contact me for any question. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share our experience with you.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your presentation. This technology actually is really amazing, and hopefully we can see some cooperation on it in the future with the UAE. Thank you very much. And we are closing now this session devoted to applied technologies, and we are approaching the end of our webinar. We are running a little bit late, but we really wanted to save some time to highlight the connection of this initiative, the whole InnovItaly UAE, and so not only this webinar, to the Italian participation in Expo 2020. We spoke a lot about innovation, about opportunities of innovation. Expo will be a platform for showcasing Italian innovation on a global stage. So we have with us, and we are very grateful to him, the Italian General Commissioner for participation in Expo 2020 Dubai, Paolo Grisenti. Paolo, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, Nicola. Let me be brief, but I would like to participate by sharing some of the ideas that we are having now in planning the Expo 2020 Dubai and participation of Italy to this first global event after the pandemic. My first thought is that we are convinced that agro-food innovation will be one of the main, will be considered by many participant countries and their visitors to the pavilions as the main response to the post-pandemic world scenario. In the sense that people will expect at the Expo to see how agro-food is working for sustainability, and vice versa, how important is becoming a sustainable agriculture system. I'm referring to the many examples that we will see at Expo about water resource, usage of water resource, the fertilization of arid soil, biodiversity protection, high-tech agriculture. All of this will be part of the events, initiatives, pavilion showcasing in many instances at Expo Dubai. I think Expo Dubai will also signify one important affirmation of the One Health model. The One Health model meaning the strong connection between personalized medicine and innovative agriculture. The connection between innovative agriculture, nutrition, biotechnology for the safety and health of human beings. I think that One Health model will be predominant at Expo Dubai in 1 year from now. And in that sense, let me say that it seems like many years have gone from Expo Milano, when we discussed food security and safety, to Expo Dubai, where we will really discuss the sustainability of food and agricultural chains. It's a really a different, profoundly different scenario. And I think it will be interesting also at Expo to see how much the emphasis and the attention and the focus will be on multinational cooperation in health and in agriculture and food innovation. Starting from us, Italy, as a European country, we will really showcase what we are doing in terms of implementing the new European Union agricultural policy in a multilateral approach. We will participate in the Food Coalition project launched recently by Food Organization. We will really participate in many events which will, together with other countries, will show how the green transition is strongly linked to the agricultural innovation transition. In that sense, I think that Expo Dubai will show how long multidisciplinary and multifaceted are food chains, and how important it would be to develop a vision and a governance model to control and push agro-food innovation towards a sustainable model by, and this is my last thought, by showing at Expo Dubai how important is the becoming the connection between science, research, resources to agricultural food production. I think we will see a multidisciplinary approach to agro-food innovation with this multicultural and multilateral cooperation model. And I believe that Italy and the UAE can really play a strong role in joining forces as we are planning to do with universities, research centers, and companies and food companies, agricultural fund companies in Expo Dubai 2020. Let me just finish by saying that we will showcase and champions the winners, the agro-food companies that have won the 27 calls launched last year by Prima and the Italian Commissioner, which have, I think, an interesting point to make. That all these projects are the result of scientific contribution by many universities in the Mediterranean area. Again, one more sign, strong sign of our multilateral cooperation will be a key point in showcasing agro-food innovation at the Expo Dubai next year. Thank you, Ambassador, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner Crisenti, for highlighting the approach of our participation in Expo 2020, especially in the agri-food and sectors. Thank you so much. Now, Dr. Provenzano, Farm Manager from Elite Agro, the floor is yours, a daunting task to, let's say, wrap up this webinar, and thank you for being with us. Please.
Thank you, Ambassador Lehner, for this opportunity and for this very interesting webinar. I would like to say that today's webinar has been a really fruitful ground where the contributors have proved how agri-food technology and innovation are increasingly gaining importance in modern society as well as in the agricultural sector, especially on the light of global changes we are currently facing, from ongoing climate change to growing demand for food and preservation of our environmental resources, concepts remarked by Your Excellencies, Ms. Mariam Al-Mahari, Ministry for Food and Waste Security of UAE, and yourself, Ambassador. So those changes, as mentioned before, are including, of course, also the COVID pandemic crisis, which has highly impacted the accessibility to food and resources worldwide, raising the attention on one of the most critical and urgent priorities for food security. Thus, we have got a wide overview of the excellent work and efforts done by both countries, UAE and Italy, in developing efficient strategies and implementing technologies and innovative methods to increase the agribusiness competitiveness and increase crop and livestock production efficiency and the sustainability of our agricultural systems. And last but not the least, to guarantee the end consumer safe and nutritious products with longer shelf life, including novel food, as mentioned earlier by Ambassador Lehner, for healthier dietary options. So all the contributions have pointed out that when we talk about agri-food, we refer to a transversal model of the entire agri-food sector. We talk about everything that happens from the production on a farm until it's consumed. Thus, today's discussion and research program showed the importance of an holistic approach and the cooperation between the different actors of this chain. As the title of the webinar itself suggests, we can state technologies have always been and are the key for food security. And for a sector which is known to be the less digitalized compared to other major industries, projects like the one presented today, which embrace digital transformation, electronic analytics, the application of automation and artificial intelligence, along with the use of biotechnologies, genetic resources, and renewable energies, lead us to the concept of smart farming and show the potential of modern agriculture in delivering solutions in line with the actual needs of our societies. Finally, I would like to add that beside the role played by research and educational institutions in the transfer of the knowledge and awareness on the topics discussed today, the presence of programs like AGTech, promoted by Abu Dhabi Investment Office, and the contribution of the General Commissioner for the Italian participation at Expo 2020 Dubai, remind us how such type of programs and broad international events, like also the webinar we are attending today, are fundamental for the support of innovation in the agri-food sector and for the promotion of important synergies between the different actors involved in this, let's say, technological revolution. So I would like to thank again everyone attending the webinar, all the speakers, along with the Italian Embassy, Dubai Future Foundation, and Khalifa University for organizing those cycle of webinars, pivotal for the dissemination of those seeds of knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Provenzano, actually for your summing up. I'm also very thankful to everybody, to our partners, as you mentioned, Khalifa Foundation and Khalifa University for Science and Technology in Abu Dhabi and Dubai Future Foundation, as well as to all of you who are attending this specific webinar and the colleagues who attended the previous ones, as well as all the attendees. I hope, as you were saying, that we have created a sort of ecosystem that can generate some interesting opportunities of cooperation. We are closing this first series of webinars today, but we are keeping encouraging and supporting cooperation between the research and business environments of our two countries, with more initiatives in the year to come. Our idea was to move to the, let's say, real in-person mode. Let's see how the health conditions develop. We will let you know how we can continue from, let's say, the beginning of 2021 to Expo, so to October 21. Definitely there will be more initiatives on innovation and opportunities, and on bilateral opportunities. Well, finally, let me thank Mr. Muheri for having interacted with this webinar, and all of you, as I said, but also our team, Valeria Gravagno, Stefania Bonotto, Davide Donati, Claudia Pescara, who contributed to organize all the webinars, and to our communication partner, Twister. I hope not, having forgotten anybody in this case, I apologize in advance. Thank you really for your time. It's been a long webinar, really. Thank you for your patience. I hope really that it can bear fruits. In any case, the recorded version will be on our website as the previous webinars. Thanks to everybody, really, and I really hope to see you soon again, maybe here in person. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.